ICO 324 signal generator 1956. This video is informational and not entertaining. This table of contents could guide you through the available topics. This is a vacuum tube signal generator, part of a series of kits made by ICO starting from the late 1940s. What you see in the picture is the advert in the ICO catalog 1963, page 25. The ICO 324 is capable of producing signals, possibly amplitude modulated, between 150 kHz and 145 MHz. Theoretically, higher frequencies could be obtained via harmonics. This signal generator was distributed as a kit to be built at home. Therefore, most of these pieces of equipment have been built with imperfections, which requires particular attention during the initial troubleshooting. Before using the signal generator for the first time, it is necessary to verify its condition. The soldering points should be carefully verified. They might have been made with insufficient or excessive tin. They might be shorting with other nearby points. Lost tin blobs might be hiding in between the wires or underneath them. The wire cores might be exposed without insulation. All the rotary and sliding switches need to be cleaned with a contact cleaner. It is appropriate to consider replacing the selenium rectifier with a silicon one. Replacing the electrolytic and paper capacitors is recommended. The original resistors might be out of tolerance and replacing them would also be appropriate. Please note that if the selenium rectifier is replaced, also the value of the resistor R1 could be increased. Very likely it should be changed into 4.7 kΩ to obtain the same B+ DC voltage of 110 volt. The picture shows the original signal generator complete schematics with additional annotations in various colors. The value of the variable capacitor has been measured disconnecting it from the circuit, while the values of all the inductances have been calculated. This picture now shows a rewritten schematic diagram, where it also appears the suggestion for an additional radio frequency output to be used for a frequency counter. The ICO 324 signal generator is composed of two Colpitts oscillators, one for the audio frequency modulation signal and one for the radio frequency modulated signal. This is the radio frequency section. To obtain the modulation, the anodes of the two sides of the 12AB7 vacuum tube are fed by the cathode of the modulator side of the audio frequency section. This simplified diagram shows the audio frequency section when the internal oscillator is selected. In this case, the second part of the 12AU7 is used as the oscillator, while the first part of the tube is used as an amplifier to drive the modulation of the radio frequency section. In this configuration, the audio signal is available also at the audio frequency output port. When the audio frequency section is configured for getting the audio signal from outside, this is the corresponding simplified diagram. In this case, an audio signal available from the port audio frequency input, the same as audio frequency output, is preamplified by the second part of the 12AU7 and then amplified by the first part of the tube, which is responsible for driving the modulation. The following pictures, alternated by drawings taken from the original construction manual, show where the components are located on the chassis. The inductance L7 is not visible because it is actually made only of a thick piece of wire. The restoration of this particular unit implied the replacement of most of the capacitors, all the resistors and of the rectifier, using a silicon diode instead, and also the addition of a fuse. For convenience, a BNC connector is used in place of the original radio frequency output port. The 12AU7 vacuum tube appeared to have a severe internal leakage, preventing it from modulating the radio frequency signal, therefore requiring a replacement. The cabinet showed signs of rust trying to emerge from underneath the protective lacquer. Therefore, to remove the lacquer and the rust, the cabinet is submerged in vinegar for more than 2 days. The cabinet is then cleaned with the help of some steel wool. It is finally washed and then dried and then painted again. In the end, the already mentioned extra radio frequency output for a frequency counter is added to the back of the chassis. The alignment of this analog signal generator is very simple, and it requires only to select a frequency in the middle of a band, adjusting the corresponding inductance, so that the actual generated frequency corresponds. Band F cannot be aligned to the dial because the inductance L7 is made of a thick piece of wire and cannot be adjusted. Here is the restored ICO 324 under test, starting with non-modulated signals. On the upper side of the oscilloscope screen, the various harmonics are visible. The test started with band A from 150 to 400 kHz. It continues with band B from 400 to 1200 kHz. Band C from 1.2 to 3.5 MHz. Band D from 3.5 to 11 MHz. Band E from 11 to 37 MHz. Band B again, tuning to 455 kHz. The internal modulation is activated. It is advisable to keep the original microphone switchcraft connectors on units like this one, because there is a simple way to fabricate an adapter. Switchcraft panel connectors have the same diameter and thread of a PL259. Therefore, it would be possible to shorten the central contact of a PL259 and hook to these old microphone connectors. Here is the construction of an adapter for BNC test leads in a slightly accelerated video clip. The body of the BNC socket is soldered to the PL259 connector. The central terminal is soldered. It is important that the solder flows down inside the terminal so that it fills the bottom part of it. The central terminal is shortened, keeping about 3–4 millimeters only. 2 nylon washers of the right internal diameter are inserted. Each of these washers is 1 millimeter thick. The residue of the center terminal is still a little bit too long. It is reduced at the height of the 2 nylon washers, which is 2 millimeter in total. Then the washers are glued to the body of the connector, and the adapter is almost completed. The 2 protruding serrations of the original PL259 plug are cut off to avoid damaging the microphone connector. Considering that the connectors Switchcraft 2501 MP are still available from online distributors, it would also be possible to revert a previous adaptation if one cares of the original look, but still keeping the functionality of the piece of equipment. This video comes with written documentation available from the links appearing under the Show More tab, containing more details and better resolution pictures compared to what the video could offer.